Hey everyone, today we're going to do a quick little contour video just using some drugstore products. So it's going to be a quick and easy way. We're going to blend with a beauty blender, very simple and easy. I'm going to show you how to do it from start to finish, and it'll be perfect for the summertime because it won't be too heavy. If you're someone like me who has more of a rounder face, you still want to give yourself dimension without putting on too many products. So this kind of look is perfect for that. You'll still get that definition without having to pile on too much. So we're going to use a mixture. We are going to use a few higher end products like the Anastasia Contour Kit. But for the most part, it's going to be affordable. So first we're going to start off by priming. I love primer. I think that it is the most important step for me. It keeps my skin from getting breakouts. What I like about this one is that it will help calm down a little bit of the redness that I have. I just have that naturally. This one is from Smashbox. You can also get the little trial sizes, which I think is great. If you've never tried out something before, get those little travel sizes and try them out that way. So once you have all of that on, we're going to do a little bit of, usually a little bit of foundation. I'm using the Bobbi Brown. For me, it's the best lightweight foundation. A pump and a half, nothing too much, because we're going to add a little bit more product on, and we don't really want it to be too heavy. So I'm going to use this brush by Shiseido. I've been loving it for foundation. I just think that it applies it really well. You don't have to worry too much about streaking, and it just goes on very smoothly. I like the shape of it. I just kind of use it by running it all over. You can also buff it in if you want, but I find this way works best for me. And again, we're just gonna go over. For me, I have to use it all over. If you don't have to, then you can skip this step and just do the concealing and highlighting. But my face is a completely different color than the rest of my body, so I like to use it all over. Just going to drag that down too. I get some random red spots as well. You can also add concealer if you want to cover it up more, but it'll go away eventually, so I'm not going to bother with that. Okay, so we're just going to smooth it all out. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to add more coverage and everything. So just a light cover up. So everything is nice and smooth. I'm going to color correct under my eyes. You can use more color correction if you want. The key is just use very light applications. You don't want to put a whole slob on and then keep on adding products. It's just not going to look good. I'm going to use the Benefit Erase Paste, and we're going to use this color as medium. I think it's a little dark for me, but this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to rub it against my fingers just a little bit and put that underneath my eyes where I usually get really dark, which is right under there. And we're just going to tap that out. And again, light layers. You don't want to layer on too much because then it will crease, and that's one thing we want to avoid. And this one is really creamy, which I think is perfect for under the eyes, but if it's too creamy for you, you could obviously use something else, or the NYX one is really good as well. Or again, just use a very, very light amount to rub it with your fingers, and it'll just thin it out to the point where you won't even tell it's creamy. So once we have that, we're going to move on to concealing. With concealing and highlighting, I guess, you do want to use shades that are a couple of shades lighter because it really does tie everything in. and the shape that you want it to be will depend on your face shape. I have a roval, I guess you can call it, a roundish oval face. So I have very puffy cheeks, and then I do have a longer jawline and a very round forehead. So when you are contouring, you want to keep those things in mind. If you have a very small forehead, you don't want to put any darkness in your forehead. You don't want to close it more. If you have a very wide face, you want to add more contour in the cheek and jaw area to slim it down. I'm just going to do a light version of it just because it's summertime and I don't want to wear a lot. So for the concealing and the highlighting, you do want to use a good amount underneath the eye. I do like to go right on this cheekbone area, the high points. It doesn't have to be perfect either. Just slap it on. And then in order to balance this out, you're going to put, I like to put a little on my chin. I think I like to bring it out a little bit more, and you're going to put a little on your forehead here. Again, just slap it on. I'm going to steer clear from this part just so that I can close that in just a bit. So now we're going to move straight on to the contouring. This one is the LA Girls Pro Conceal. This one is in the color medium beige. This one, by the way, was NYX in the color CW01. Both are great concealers for a fraction of the higher end prices. I think this is $3. You really can't beat that. So we're just going to use a little bit of this to help contour. And when you're contouring, you want to keep it in the natural hollows. If you do want to change your face shape, you can go out of it, but for now we're going to use our natural contour. So I'm going to put it right about here. Try not to get in your hair. There, we're going to go, so this side is a little fuller than this side, so I would cheat it a little bit by bringing it up. I don't really want to emphasize this bulge that I've got going on there. We're also going to do a couple lines here. Just kind of close that down. And a little under the chin, because this happens. We don't want that. Just going to trace from your jawline down. I know it looks crazy, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So with these, the good thing about them is that they are lightweight, so you still get the benefits of the contouring without the heaviness or the stickiness of really, really heavy foundation. So we're just going to tap it in. I like to start with the concealing part, or the highlighting part I should say. Just going to blend that in. I like this, the black, it's the Pro Beauty Blender. It actually is a lot softer than the pink one, which I was really, really surprised. I use this on my clients as well, and they absolutely love the way that this feels. And on myself too, I think it's definitely worth the $20 to get the Pro one. I think the regular one is the same price. So we're just going to pounce that in. And what's good about the Beauty Blender is that it's going to pick up any excess that you might have, which you can put into other areas if you wanted. But it's also just going to blend it out much better than I think a brush could, and faster. It is so much faster. So next we're going to blend in our contour. We're going to push on our forehead back into our hairline. So it blends a little bit more naturally. And for our cheeks, we're going to push into the cheeks. In and out. That way we get to keep that line where it is and just blend everything else out. So as you can see, it's just subtly, very subtle and lightweight, which is what I love. Now we're going to blend the jawline down, chin down. And again, this will just make it look, I think, a little bit more natural. This kind of two-step process. Now, if you are lucky that you don't need to powder yourself, you can skip the powder part, but I'm not one of those people. I definitely need to powder. Do a little on my eyelids just to even that out as well. Now to set everything, I'm going to use, for my under eyes, I do love the Laura Mercier setting powder. I've also been loving the Mineral Veil by Bare Minerals. I do think it's also really good for under the eyes. It's not too heavy or anything like that. So I'm just going to take a little bit and we're just going to tap that in. I have been trying out it's not new, but the baking method, and I must say I do like it. I would not do it every day. It does stand up to extreme heat. And again, just powder everywhere that you have the highlight. The thing with baking under the eyes, it makes my eyes are so sensitive, it just makes it a little too firm, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's too much for my under eye area. It does make it look absolutely perfect. You look poreless and it's just smooth. It doesn't look like you're wearing too much powder, which I was surprised about, but it is very intense for the under eyes. I felt like my eyes felt smaller. So for me, that was just too much. But if you do want to bake, I guess, bake. If you do want to bake, then, you know, this is definitely the time to do so. So now we're going to finish off the contouring. We're going to use, and again, you do want to make sure that you do your wets, your liquids, your creams first before you add any powder, because powders and liquids do not mix. So you want to do liquid first, and then you want to add any powder products. So we're going to go in with this shade here, the middle shade, to kind of finish off and set our contour. Just subtly. And by subtle, I mean you don't want any harsh lines. It's obvious to not wake up like this. If you want to go for true subtlety, you probably wouldn't wear any makeup at all. But here we're just going to go for a natural. You always want to bring it down to your chest as well. And then once you have all of that on, we're going to just take off any excess on your hand, and we're just going to blend it all in. With contouring, there is no such thing as too much blending. When you think that you've blended enough, blend some more. I kind of learned that the hard way. Because there'll be times where I think that I've blended a lot, my arms hurt. And then I'll set everything with my spray, and then I'll look at it and just be like, look at that line. And you just can't go back after that. And again, just keep on blending. Now, if this is not enough contouring for you, you could add a little bit more. For me, I think that it is enough. Now we're going to move on to finish our quick look would be blush. I'm going to use the BH palette. And I think for today, if I can open it. we're going to use, I want to use this peachy, or this bright coral color here. I like it. Just a little bit. These are very pigmented, so you don't want a lot. And we're just going to brush it on the, I like to do it on the apples of my cheeks. And then back. I find that that's the most flattering for me. But you put it where you want. There we go. To finish it off, you always have to, I love highlighter. I think that it's just the most flattering. Everyone looks good with highlighter. For today, I'm going to use Becca. I never know which way to put it. But this is Opal. I cannot wait, by the way, for that Jaclyn Hill palette. I never got Champagne Pop. I don't know why. It is, to me, it's expensive, but to get that palette that she is coming out with, if you don't know, it is coming out soon, I think 26th. It's going to be available at Sephora, and it's going to be $52, and you get the 2 highlighters and 3 blushes. I mean, come on. You cannot beat that. I think that's amazing. So to apply the highlighter, I'm going to use this brush. I like the way that it applies the highlighter. For me, it looks the most natural. This highlighter is very intense, as are all of their highlighters of Becca's. So for me, I find that the best way to achieve that glow without looking crazy is to apply it like in a diffused way with a brush like this. This one is from Target. You just keep building the intensity. I do like to use a little on my temples. I like to put it, I mean, I love highlighter. I like to put it underneath my brows to enhance that, especially if I'm not going to be wearing a lot on my lids, which I don't like to. I do like to add a little extra highlighter here and there. Another trick you could use as well is a little bit of your contour color, which is that center shade. We're going to use just a little fluffy brush, and we're going to put it in our contour of our eyes, which is right underneath that brow bone. If you don't have a brow bone, you can just fake it. Just put it wherever you want to crease. And this will enhance the eyes as well, again, without having to do too much. It's not going to look like you're wearing a bunch of eye makeup. And any old brush will do. We're just brushing it through. To finish off the look, you've got to do your brows. I'm just going to run a little bit of the Anastasia brow wiz through. I like to do this brow first, just because we all have that one brow that just does not want to cooperate, and this is it. This is mine. It just does not want to grow over here. I don't know why. So just light strokes. That'll look the most natural. And again, we're just going to brush it through. Just brush it through just to make sure that you don't have any harsh lines. I think that's the key to any makeup look. If you're going to add something where you don't have hair, for instance, you want to make sure it's well blended out, because you don't want people to see those lines. We want to trick them into thinking that we were born this way. So next would be mascara. We're going to keep it in the drugstore range. We're going to use this one from L'Oreal, the Voluminous Carbon Black. For me, I actually like the other one, the regular one, I guess, the original. That brush is so much better than this one, but this is all I have, so this is what we'll use. Another little trick that I've learned is when you if you're not really going to put too much else on the eyes, you want to really focus that mascara on your lower, you're as close to the lash line as possible. That will not only make them look fuller, and of course if you mess up, don't worry. You can always take that off with a Q-tip. But what that helps with is it also creates the look of liner almost. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1. You don't have to bother with liner. You just kind of massage the mascara as close to the lash line as you can get, and it will kind of create that look that liner does. It just helps define the eyes without having to put too much effort. Which in the summertime, that's really what we want. We don't want to put too much effort. It's hot, and heat makes us tired, so why bother with extra steps when you can achieve it with one? And again, just keep wiggling it through, just as Lisa Eldridge says, massage it, which I think is pretty funny. We're going to go in for a second coat. Again, you don't have to. It's not necessary. But if you aren't going to be doing too much to the rest of your eyes, I think that it helps create more intensity and definition. Okay, perfect. So while that dries, we're going to go to the bottom, which I can't really do. I gotta get close to. I don't know who can go from afar. And yes, I like to open my mouth when I put mascara on. I don't know if it necessarily helps, but I can't seem to do it any other way. And if you don't like the lower lashes to be too intense, you can always skip that step. But for me, that's essential. And that's pretty much it. For lips, you want to keep it natural. And for me, there's nothing better than, which I'm almost out of actually, the Benetint by Benefit. This, for me, is just everything. It makes your lips look perfect. You don't need to worry about it looking perfect. You just kind of slap it on, tap it in, and you're good to go. It lasts a good while. I would say about 6 hours at most. And it's really easy to reapply. But again, it's just going to add a little bit of color to the lips, a little bit of definition, without you having to try too hard. And it smells so good. It smells like roses, and it's just divine. So again, we're just going to rub it on through. I like to rub it on while it's still wet, so I get to distribute it a little bit more evenly. And then I like to let it dry just a bit before I can add my second coat. So while that's drying, I'm going to go get myself a Q-tip because I messed up on my eyes, which is fine. It happens. That's what Q-tips are for. They're there to help you whenever you make a mistake. Just kind of rub it off. Gently, of course. No reason to cry over spilled milk. So now we got that taken care of. We're going to add a second coat. So you could just keep it, if you want to keep it really nice and simple and subtle, you could just do that one coat. But I love this stuff. Now it is drying. It is a stain. So if you have really chapped lips, I do recommend the balm that goes with it. It will add just a little bit of the same color on it, so it's not going to take away from the stain, but it's going to help moisturize your lips. You could just use a regular moisturizer. That will work too. But I have always preferred that balm that comes with it. What can I say? I used to work there. I can't help it. So to set everything, I have been loving spraying instead of spraying it directly onto my face, I love spraying it onto a beauty blender and then tapping it in. It does the exact same thing, but I find that it doesn't, I don't know, it's just sometimes when you spray it on directly, it makes a little bit of a film. It makes it too much, in my opinion, and here you have a better control as to how much you're putting on. So, I just spray all over. Now, this one is from Benai, so it's a little intense. You're just going to tap that in. It smells like spearmint gum, which is weird. But you can use any. I love the Urban Decay. That one is great as well. You're just going to tap that in. I find that this not only keeps everything in place, but it helps, again, take off any excess, just in case you were just a little heavy-handed. And there you go. And what I love about this too, it's not going to create any lines or creases or anything like that. It's just going to keep it nice and matte without you having to wait for it to dry or anything. It's quick and easy, and it does the exact same thing. And that's it. You are all set to go out into the world looking fabulous and put together, but not cakey one bit. This is something that I would do during the summer if I'm going to go out during the day, that I still want to look a little bit more chiseled, but not over the top. So this is something that I think will be perfect for summer. It is already summer where I live here in Florida. I think it's summer 9 months out of the year. That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm swimming. But yes, that will be it. So you are all set to let your hair be beachy and curly and just enjoy the summer. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want to see any more videos, just leave a comment down below. I would really appreciate it.